Hi guys, it's me Angie and I'm back with another Flosstube video. So welcome to my channel about cross stitch. Welcome new viewers, welcome older viewers, welcome everybody. I hope you enjoy what you see. I have some stitching progress. I have a few things that I have gotten. I have some stuff to share about just regular life, but I'll probably wait and talk about that at the end of the video because I know not everybody likes to hear that stuff. So anyway, I guess we can go ahead and get started with what do I have? This last week was my birthday and a lovely subscriber sent me a pattern. I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge it sooner. It was in an email account that I forgot the password to. I had to rechange all of my passwords recently because, you know, one of those big data breach things. So I went through and just kind of tidied up all my passwords. And so I ended up getting logged out of that one and I couldn't remember. And it took me a while. And if I'm being honest, I don't check that email very often, even though it's the one I tend to associate with all of my crafty stuff because I'm a terrible social media email person. It just is what it is. You're not going to see me posting tons on Instagram or Facebook because I stink at it. So anyway, yeah. But I did eventually get it, and unfortunately I couldn't print the picture off because my printer was being funny, and every time I tried to get the cover photo of the pattern, it comes out like cut in half. So I took a picture of it, and this is the pattern, and it's super cute. It's a little tiny thing that'll probably end up as a Christmas ornament or something on my tree at some point. Hopefully, I'm not exactly sure because I got to talk about this in plans, but I might be able to even start it this weekend. And because I mean, it looks like it's pretty simple and it probably will take an hour, maybe two, to get fully done. So we'll see. Maybe next video you'll see a finished one. Anyway, so thank you so much. You know who you are, and I love it. And it was very thoughtful, and I really appreciate you thinking about me. So thanks. Also, I have this little thing. I've had it for a while, but it got buried in a pile of other stuff because I'm one of those people that piles things. It just, you know, my husband says if there is a horizontal surface anywhere, I will pile stuff on it, and he's not wrong. Anyway, so I got this. It's called a beadsmith. I'm hoping that by the end of May, I will be to the beading stage of Stargazer. I don't know, but I'm hoping. And so I wanted to come up with a way to organize beads because I hear horror stories about beading and how it's annoying, and it's almost as annoying as backstitching. I don't know, I've never had a project that needed, well, no, I did, but it was like 10 beads, so that wasn't annoying. Anyway, so I was checking out some of my favorite Flosstubers' Instagram and Facebook posts in the Haid Facebook page, and some people were showing off this. It's got kind of that tacky, sticky, plasticky feeling, kind of like, I don't know if you can relate, but when I was a kid, we'd go to the store and they'd have those little machines where you could insert a quarter and get a toy, and the toy I would get more often than not was this little sticky octopus, and the purpose of it was you'd throw it as hard as you can against the wall and it would splat on the wall, and then it would slowly suck away from the wall and then roll down because it was so sticky. And of course they were really gross because after you slapped them on the wall 2 or 3 times, they were dirty because they had all the dust and grime, and heaven forbid you drop it on the ground. Well, anyway, that's what this reminds me of. It's got that same sticky feeling. So I imagine you got to be really careful about where you put this so you don't collect all the dust and debris and everything. But I'm excited to try it out. We'll see how it works. And as I use it, I'll let you know. I'm not sure where to put it because both sides are sticky. So I don't know if the idea is that you stick the back of this onto the fabric or if you stick it onto the table so it doesn't shift. I don't know. Whatever we do, I will figure it out, and it will be awesome, I'm sure. So that is all as far as acquiring things. I'm boring, you guys. I don't buy a lot of stuff. I don't know if you've noticed, but I definitely I'm not really part of any, you know, unboxing clubs or anything like that. I'm just boring. So I don't get a lot of stuff. So I apologize if you're hoping that I'll have tons of things coming in, but I just don't. So let's go ahead and move on to stitching. I worked on several projects. I made little dents in them. I did do a lot of stitching, but I don't want to say that my stitchy bug is gone, because it's not. I still very much want to stitch. It's just that I'm either really tired, or now that the spring is coming and the weather is nice, other things are kind of taking priority. I also have 2 days a week now where I don't have any kids. Well, I have one kid at home, but she stays in her room and does her schoolwork, so it's almost like having no kids at home. And then I feel guilty if I'm just sitting there not doing anything. When my kids are there, I have to be there to monitor what's going on with 2 of them. And so I can justify just sitting there for 8 hours and doing nothing but stitch, because I'm constantly like, what are you doing? Get back on task. Get out of YouTube right now. That one's an issue. But when they're not here, I feel like, okay, those heavy duty chores that I can't really do because it takes me out of the room for long periods of time, I can do all of that. So on those days, and I knew this would happen. I knew that when my kids went back to school, my stitchy time would lower, and it's true. It has. It's kind of sad. So the thing that I need to do is just keep my house spotless all the time so that I don't have to get up and clean, right? Yeah, 4 kids, easier said than done. Okay, anyway, so let's get on with what I have done. First up, we'll show, I've got some Garden Prelude. Not much to say. I pulled this one out for the letter G that got called for stitch, Go Stitch. I am so far behind on that one, you guys. So far behind. I need to catch up on that, hopefully over the next 24 hours. Well, the weekend. I'll talk about that later. But anyway, so mostly I just filled in up here and did this stuff, and I'm liking it. I do think that I probably went too subtle in the differences between the colors in the yellow. If you don't know the pattern Garden Prelude, in the original pattern, the dress is teal with the purple ribbon, and my daughter requested a yellow dress. And I found somebody who'd done a color conversion of the chart, but I didn't like the yellows they used, and so I kind of did my own. And it's my first time doing color conversion, and I do think that the differences are a little too subtle. And I don't think that without this ribbon here, you would realize that these are different folds of the dress. I'm hoping that because there's ribbon all over, it will make up for my lack of knowledge in color conversions. So we'll see. When it's all done, I mean, worst case scenario, when it's all done, if it's really terrible looking, I can always just try again, right? I mean, why not? So there is Garden Prelude. I did a little more random thread. Did a little bit more on 13 Colonies. I actually had to move the scroll bars a little bit, so there's some stitching down here under that's been rolled up so I could get up here to work the top. I figured I'd try to get the top border done, and I was correct. I remember mentioning how this is the part that takes the longest, and the rest of this is pretty easy and quick, and yeah, it is. So getting through that, it's just making sure you've got the counting right. So I think I counted 3 times before doing any stitching, and once I know I've got the counting right, then the rest of it's cake. So it's looking good. Not sure when I'm gonna pull that out again. Might be a while. We'll see. I'm hoping to work on this again soon, but I put about 200 stitches in this, mainly for Mini Sasquatch. I filled in, I got the color I was missing, which was kind of a burnt yellow color. And so I was able to fill in some rough spots in there that, because I didn't have the color, you know, so it looked like this. There were lots of little blank spots. And then I worked a little bit out here on the greens. You guys, I love this pattern. As I'm looking at this in the camera, it's just so pretty. And obviously the whole effect is that it's just supposed to look like a watercolor version. And the colors, the way that they're done is fantastic. It's so pretty, and it looks so much like somebody put the color on and then dropped water on it. It's fantastic, and I cannot wait to get this done. And I need to focus more on this more often because it's so pretty. And it's just gonna, oh, I saw a finished version. I think somebody did a regular size. This is the mini size, so it's gonna be a lot smaller. But I can't wait to get this done. Oh, I just love it. Anyway, so there's that one. Let's see. I know I showed this to you and told you that I was working on it. It's pretty close to done. So we've got, I added luncheon in there. This is my 11sies pattern. All I have left is afternoon tea, dinner, and supper. And then this one will be done. So I'm just slowly working on this. There's no real reason for me to rush the finish, except that as soon as it's done, it's gonna get framed and put in my kitchen. Gosh, I could have it finished easily, very quickly, if I focused on it. But it's more of a, if I don't know what I want to stitch on, then I pull this out and just kind of work on that. It's not, I'm not chomping at the bit to get it done. I don't think there's any. I think it's once you get close enough to a finish that you start going, oh, I just want to finish. I just want to finish. There's very rarely a pattern that I'm looking at thinking to myself, oh, I really want to get this done. I don't know. Probably because all of my projects are so big that I'm aware it's going to take a long time to do pretty much any of them. All right, you guys. The next one is Giant Harry Potter. And I did Buckbeak and this Dementor. If you'll remember, Buckbeak is not charted in this pattern. So what I ended up doing is my daughter, I love how you can see my lights through there. My daughter has a Harry Potter Lego set, and one of the pieces is Buckbeak. So what I did is I ended up taking Buckbeak and I set him up on a table in front of me, and then I sort of sketched him out over some graph paper, and then I graphed out the lines of Buckbeak so that they'd be squared, you know, because I'm not trying to be super awesome pattern maker or anything. I just trying to get it passable. That's what I did with my Avatar alphabet ones too. Anyway, and so then I did that and I figured out the colors, and then I outlined him in places. I backstitched so that he would be more obvious. And I can't remember, but I think he has feathers for tails, so I might have to go back and add something there, but otherwise, I mean, if not, he still looks like Buckbeak. So that's how I did that, and then I finished him, and there was this big, huge space. And if you'll, I don't know, if you've been with me long enough, you'll remember that, so we've got Harry's dad's Patronus here, and his mom and his mom's Patronus were supposed to be on this side. So his mom was supposed to be here with her Patronus. The thing is in the fourth book, which is, no, the third book, I'm sorry, which is this one, if I remember correctly, you don't meet his mom and you don't meet her Patronus. So I felt like, well, I understand why they put it there. I felt like that wasn't necessary to have. So I removed, I'd already stitched her Patronus, so I removed that so that I could make room for Buckbeak, but then there was still this big gap. So there was supposed to be another Dementor somewhere over here. So I took that, photographed the pattern, and flipped it so that it was facing the other way, and then stitched that there. So it works. And then I think I just need to add something here. I might add another couple spiders or some, I don't know. I gotta think about what can go there. Maybe a moon. I could put a moon there. That would actually be really good. And I've seen some people who tried to do Sirius as a dog. I thought about trying to chart that up, but then I was like, I'd much rather have Buckbeak in there. So anyway, that's where I'm at with Giant Harry Potter. And pretty much everything from here up is done except in the border. So I need to go through and just finish up the border. I keep saying that, and then other projects call me away, so. All right, and then the last thing that I worked on, I decided I didn't want to really focus on the homework, like focus on finding things to fit the prompts for magical stitches this week, probably because I'm just tired. So I pulled out my oldest whip, which is Northern Nights, and I'm worked on this. So far I've put 500 in. I need to put another 500 in before the end of the weekend. So that's going to be my main focus today, is to get the rest of that. And pretty much down here and right along here is going to be the hardest. The rest of this is just going to be half stitches because it's the water, and the half stitches are pretty easy. So yeah, but it's looking good. And then if I can, it's supposed to go down 200 more stitches down this way. I'm tempted to just end the pattern at this spot. I don't know. I'm tempted because then I don't have to put the Q-snap again. I don't know. I like this pattern, but it doesn't call to me the same way it did when I first got it because I found so many other wonderful things. But when I do stitch on it, I enjoy what I'm doing. So, I mean, the least I could do is finish it, right? Of course. So that's all for my stitching. And so next up, we can talk plans. Today is the start of 24 Hours of Cross Stitch Marathon, which I did not set out with any specific plans, just that I would try to cross stitch for 24 hours over the course of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was going to go out and do some gardening today, but it's chilly and I didn't want to. I tweaked my back because I'm out of shape. And so I'll talk gardening again in a minute, but I decided not to do that. So I'm trying to get some chores done so that I can spend the rest of the evening kind of being lazy. My husband fully supports, so he gets it. He's fine. I give him notice and I tell him, hey, this is what's going on and this is what I'm going to be focusing on. But I also let him know that if he needs me or if somebody needs something or if we need to do something, obviously that takes precedence, but he's very good about giving me the time to just be lazy. I think my focus for this month's 24 Hours Cross Stitch, I think I'm gonna work on catching up on all of my Go Stitch. I don't have to. I've done a lot of them, but I think I'm gonna catch up on Go Stitch so that I've got all of that done. I still need to do the next alphabet in Avatar Alphabet. I definitely do not want to get behind in that. And then I want to work on the Northern Nights pattern, get some more of that done. And then I think at the end of that, I will either pull out the mini Sasquatch and just work on that for a long time, or if you can believe it, I've not done a single thing on Map of Middle Earth. So I may work on that one today or this weekend, or I may use that as a focus for next week, that anything that's not required for homework prompts will be done on Middle Earth. Magic Study, I just have not wanted to stitch on Magic Study, which is unfortunate. I know, it's kind of sad. It's a really pretty pattern, but it's going to take so long, and I just have not had I've put so much into it already. I'm just not feeling it right now, so I'm just leaving it where it's at, and then one of these days I know I'll be encouraged to do it again, and then when I pull it out, I'll be like, oh, this is fun. I remember why I like this pattern, but, you know, burnout. So, especially on ones that are that intense. So that's my plans for 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. And then coming up is Stitch Mania for the month of May, which for me is going to be Mira Mania, which I hear a lot of people I know are doing that. They're just focusing on their Mirabilias. I have 2. Technically, I have 5. I have 2 that I'm working on. I have Stargazer, and I have, obviously, Garden Prelude. The ones that I have not started are Raven Queen, Roses of Provence, and then I did buy the, is it Princess Eliana? Because she just looked so cute. It's like she's running away with this multicolored patchwork dress trailing behind her. It's super cute, and I really like it, but I do not have fabric or supplies for her at all. I have, pretty sure Raven Queen is all kitted up. The fabric did arrive. And then I have the fabric, the called for fabric and everything for Roses of Provence. But I want to dye it because I don't know if any of you have ever seen that, and I can't even tell you what the website is. Somebody had shared a link to it and I clicked on it, and this was so many months ago, I don't even remember who it was. But it was a website that would feature specific brands of fabric. And you could have what the fabric looks like, and then it would have specific designers and their patterns, and you could superimpose, like you'd click the fabric and then you'd click the pattern, and it would put one on top of the other so you could kind of see what it would maybe look like on top of that. And so I found that the Roses of Provence, because you know she's in this white and pink dress smelling roses, it's a really pretty pattern, but it looks so plain on that fabric. But I found that fabric that had kind of a very subtle rainbowy look, so it had like green and yellows and blues and pinks, but they were really light and they were just sort of modeled all together. That pattern looked really good on that kind of fabric, and I just happen to have all that kind of dye, and so I'm tempted to see if I can make my own, but I'm scared because I don't want to ruin the fabric that I have for it. So I don't know. So I'm not sure. Anyway, back to the Mira plans. My plan is that I'm going to try my hardest to finish Stargazer. Not fully finished with the beading and everything. I want all the stitching finished on Stargazer, and I think I'm pretty close. And then if I can start beading, I'll start beading. So the idea is that for the first week, I'll work Stargazer. For the second week, I'll probably switch to Garden Prelude and see how much I can get done on her. And then there's still some time in there. So either I start a new Mira, or I go back and do redo those, or if I'm just not feeling it anymore, I will work on Mini Sasquatch and get some more work done on him. So as you can see, my plans are not really plans because I haven't actually made plans. I'm not a super organized Flosstube person. I do know that I'm going to work really hard on trying to get Stargazer finished, the stitching part, because that's a big deal to me. And then we'll go from there. So, but Stargazer and Garden Prelude for sure will get a lot of love in May. And that's why you haven't seen a whole lot of either of those in the last 4 months. So, and that is it for stitchy stuff. So on to the rest. As I mentioned, we had an anniversary, 22 years. Yes, 22. For a second there, I was like, wait a minute, am I wrong? No, 22 years of marriage. It's a long time. And it was really nice. We went out to dinner. We have not been out to dinner in person almost for a year. The first time we went out again was when we went to the aquarium. My husband and I went to Texas Roadhouse. My mom had sent me a gift certificate last year for us to be able to celebrate when he got home. And she said, hey, when he gets home from his deployment, take him to Texas Roadhouse. Here's a gift card for you. That gift card's been sitting in my purse for a year because we couldn't use it. We couldn't go out. We couldn't go into restaurants. It was really a bummer. So we finally got to use it. So we did that. And then we came home and just watched TV and ate ice cream. We went and got a Blizzard and came home and ate ice cream, and it was awesome. And then it was my birthday, and I mean, you know, I don't know about you guys. sometimes I feel like moms get a little bit ignored on their birthdays because they're mom. I didn't actually. It was really nice. We didn't really do anything during the day. It was just sort of cleaning and you know, kids being kids. But then my husband completely spoiled me, and we got some cake and went and bought some Chick-fil-A, and it was super yummy. But I thought I would share with you what he did get me. Eagle-Eye viewers who've been watching from the start might notice a few of these are new. But he got me some Stranger Things so I can start my collection. So now I just need Nancy, which, you know, she's okay. I was trying to think of who my least favorite character in all of Stranger Things is, and it's really hard to come up with a character I don't like. I mean, Nancy annoys me sometimes, but I still like her. But I got 11 and Steve. And I definitely need Lucas and Will and all of them. Dustin. Dustin has to stand next to Steve because they're buds. That's awesome. He got me my Gandalf the White. He got, oh my goodness, let me pull him down. I got Aragorn and Gimli and Legolas. So now I just need to get the rest of the hobbits. I already have Frodo, so now I just need Merry and Pippin and Sam, and then I will have the whole fellowship. I know I'm a geek. I mean, is it really sad that it would make me super happy to have the whole fellowship up here? Because I've got Gandalf the Grey already. He's up there. I showed him to you. And I already have Frodo. And I have Gandalf the White. So I would have the complete fellowship before and after. No, I need Boromir. I don't have Boromir yet. I almost forgot him. Because, you know. And then he got me the Balrog. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but isn't he kind of cute? So I've got surprisingly, I've got quite the collection of Lord of the Rings, guys. I need to get some more Stranger Things ones, and then I was looking online for the Buffy ones just because I've been really into Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and you can't get those. Those are expensive, and I'm not willing to pay $200 for one of these. So I think the most we've ever paid is like $30 for one of these, and it was a big one. I have a giant Oogie Boogie, like super big Oogie Boogie, and he was like $29. So I'm cheap. I enjoy my collections, but I'm not gonna go and spend ridiculous amounts of money on my collections. So anyway, he did that, and then he also got me a Willow Tree figure, which I don't have up here, so I'm not gonna show it, but it's of a mother and son, and he got me a waffle maker that does 4 waffles at the same time, which makes my kids super happy. And then my daughter, she's like a total theater kid. Like, she loves to sing, dance, act. She's really good at it. This year she's delved into art, and the girl's got some talent, but she drew me this. Isn't that so pretty? So now I've got to go get this framed so that I can display this downstairs because it's beautiful. She did a really good job. That's my 13-year-old. She's got some talent. She got invited to be part of a special art program in school next year that you can only sign up for the class if you have the invite from the teacher. So I'm pretty proud of her. That's awesome. Okay, so that's it. That is everything. Oh, no, I was going to tell you about my gardening. It's not all that exciting. Just we have a huge flower bed, like massive flower bed. And I'm pretty sure it's been neglected for a while because it had layers and layers of really just yucky mulch. And there were bits, and according to my dad, who's pretty decent at gardening, You're not supposed to have a really, really thick layer of mulch, just enough to kind of cover your landscaping fabric if you have it, and to, you know, nest your plants and everything, because too much mulch causes problems with drainage or something. I don't know. Anyway, so he was telling me, you know, a thin layer of mulch, enough to cover, but not too thick. I mean, there was so much mulch, but it was old, and it was huge, giant chunks of bark. And not only that, we had leaves from who knows how many years that had blown into the bushes and everything, and they'd gotten stuck around the base of the bushes. And as I was cleaning them out, you could see that they were starting to rot, and the squirrels would get up in the trees, and I think there's acorns in those trees. There's some kind of a nut, and so there's the little caps from the empty nuts and just covering the garden. And the border is made of a really flat stone, I'm thinking shale or something, and it used to be all stacked up nice. Well, the shale pieces were like falling into the grass, and they were collapsing, and so it took me 2 days, but I went and I pruned back all the bushes that were in there, because, surprise, they were all azaleas, and none of them were blooming because they were all choking each other. So I, you know, like growing into each other, and the leaves were all in there, and it was bad. So I pruned all the bushes back, and I cleaned all the old mulch out, and I'm working on putting new bags. And so I bought 4 bags of mulch. Didn't even cover half the garden bed. Yeah, I have to go buy a whole bunch more. I planted another azalea bush to kind of balance the bed out, and then I bought some creeping phlox, and I put a bunch of that in there, and then a bunch of petunias. So by the end of the summer, we should have this nice blooming. And the good thing is the phlox, there's another ground cover I put in there. There's a couple rose bushes that are in there, plus the azaleas. They'll all come back year after year after year. And so I don't have to worry about replanting all that. So all the work I'm doing now will just need some basic upkeep for the rest of the time that we're here. And then when we move out, whoever moves back in is going to have a really pretty garden. Why do I put all this work into it? Because I want to see a pretty garden. But I had so many flowers, because I thought it was going to take so much to fill that garden bed. I ended up being able to fill 2 hanging baskets and a giant flower pot on my porch, and I still have more flowers left over. And so I need to find another place. But I think I'm going to get some more flower pots and put them on my deck, and slowly just build up a really pretty yard. So anyway, that's it. That's all I have for you. And yeah, I hope that you guys have a great weekend, and I will film again shortly with all of my progress from 24 hours of cross stitch. I've got my snacks, and I'm not sure what I'm going to watch. I think I'm going to catch up on some Bones now that I'm done with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I think I'm going to watch a bunch of Bones, or I'll listen to a book. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.